The lake shimmered like a sheet of glass under the afternoon sun, broken only by the playful ripples of kayaks and paddleboards gliding across its surface. The dock was alive with laughter, clinking glasses, and bursts of music from a portable speaker tucked near the birthday cake. The scent of barbecue drifted through the air, mingling with the sweetness of frosting and fresh fruit. Your wife stood at the center of it all, radiant in her summer dress and novelty sash that read Birthday Queen. Her friends had crowned her with a paper tiara that she wore proudly, though it kept slipping sideways with every burst of laughter. She waved at you as you carried a tray of drinks, her eyes sparkling in the light that danced off the water. For a moment, the world felt suspended in a perfect rhythm. Family gathered, kids splashing, the warm hum of a day that would be remembered. "Make sure nobody eats the cake before I blow the candles," she called out, mock serious. "No promises," someone shouted back, already eyeing the frosting roses. The mood was golden, the kind of afternoon that felt like it belonged on a postcard. And then a sharp, grating voice knifed through the laughter. "Excuse me, what is going on here?" A conversation stuttered and paused. Heads turned, and there she was. Karen. She stormed down the grassy slope toward the dock, her wedge sandals clacking like war drums. Her oversized sunglasses covered half her face, but nothing could disguise the familiar sneer tugging at her lips. She clutched a clipboard under her arm as though it were a weapon, her nails painted an aggressive red that matched the flush rising in her cheeks. And flanking her, two bulky men in neon safety vests, one carrying a walkie-talkie and the other puffing up his chest like a mall cop in training. The laughter died down. A couple of guests exchanged glances, muttering under their breath. "Use that," someone whispered. For crying out loud." You sighed, setting down the tray of drinks. Karen didn't slow down, the planks creaking dramatically under her steps, and jabbed a finger at the kayaks bobbing lazily nearby. "This lake is under HOA jurisdiction. You cannot just take it over with your little birthday circus." You blinked at the audacity. Then you laughed. "Because what else could you do?" "Karen, it's not a circus. It's my wife's birthday. And this lake, it's not under your HOA. I own it." A wave of chuckles rippled through the guests, but Karen wasn't fazed. She tilted her head, lips curling like she'd just been handed the role of villain in a play she was born to star in. "Ownership is irrelevant when there are rules to follow," she declared, slapping her clipboard against her palm. "And rule number 17 clearly prohibits unregistered gatherings exceeding 12 people. You stared at her. "Rule number 17. What are you even talking about?" Before you continue, Karen gestured grandly at the two men in neon vests. "That's why I brought security. These men will escort you off immediately. We can't have you disturbing the peace with your noise and your inflatables." She pointed accusingly at a pink flamingo float drifting at the dockside like it was plotting a felony. The so-called guards shuffled awkwardly. One wore sneakers, the other boots. Their vests looked like they'd been bought from a bargain bin. The plastic badges pinned crookedly to their chests gleamed faintly in the sunlight, though from a distance they resembled the kind of toys kids collect from gumball machines. The guests began murmuring again, this time with suppressed laughter. Phones discreetly rose into the air, documenting. After all, nobody wanted to miss a good Karen moment. You squared your shoulders and stepped forward. "Karen, these guys aren't security. Where did you even find them?" Craigslist. Her nostrils flared. "They are licensed professionals." One of the guards cuffed, glancing nervously at his partner. "Independent contractors, the other added quickly, his voice cracking. Karen shot him a glare so sharp it could have cut steel. "Shut it. You're here to do your job. Remove these trespassers." That did it. The party erupted in laughter. Your wife actually doubled over, clutching her sides. "Trespassers," she said between giggles. "Karen, this is literally his lake. He bought it. He pays the taxes on it. Do you think he's trespassing on himself?" The absurdity of it made even the kids laugh, their voices ringing out like bells. Someone shouted, "Yeah, Karen, do you evict people from their own houses too?" More laughter followed. Karen's face grew redder by the second. She tried to stand taller, adjusting her sunglasses as though the right pose might restore control. "This mockery will be reported," she snapped. "I am the acting president of the HOA, and you are in violation." But her words drowned in the laughter and music that began to rise again, the speaker kicking back into life. Someone mischievously queued up circus music, and the dock shook with laughter as the whimsical tune blasted through the party. The two fake guards looked like they wanted the earth to swallow them whole. One muttered, "This wasn't in the job description," while the other fiddled with his plastic badge, refusing to meet anyone's eyes. Karen hissed, spinning on them. "Do something," but before they could, your wife stepped forward, lifting her tiara as though she were about to knight someone. She faced Karen squarely, her voice calm but edged with steel. Karen, today is my birthday. These are my friends, my family, and get to ruin this with your power trips. Now either sit down, grab a slice of cake, and try being a decent human being for once, or walk away before you embarrass yourself even more. The crowd erupted in cheers, stomping the dock until it trembled. A chant broke out, your wife's name shouted in unison, celebratory and defiant. Karen's jaw worked soundlessly for a moment, like a fish gasping on dry land. Then, without another word, she spun on her heel, nearly tripping over the uneven planks, and stormed back toward the slope. The security guards hesitated a beat, then shrugged at each other and followed her off, peeling off their vests as they went. The lake returned to its easy rhythm, laughter rising louder now, freer. You slipped an arm around your wife's shoulders as she leaned against you, grinning ear to ear. Best birthday entertainment ever, she whispered. And with that, the party carried on, brighter than before, the whole crowd buzzing with the story they'd tell for years, about the day HOA Karen tried to evict the owners from their own lake. The dock seemed to hum with the echo of laughter even after Karen stormed off, but the celebration wasn't over. Not quite, she returned. At first it was just the faint clatter of heels on wood, sharp and impatient. Then her voice came, shrill as ever, slicing through the music and chatter. Don't think you've won. This isn't finish it. Everyone groaned collectively, like an audience forced to endure the return of a villain after the credits should have rolled. Guests exchanged exasperated glances, and phones were raised again, this time openly, shamelessly. Karen marched back onto the dock, her oversized sunglasses still perched defiantly on her nose, though her hair had begun to frizz in the humid afternoon air. The two so-called security guards trailed behind her reluctantly, their neon vests dangling loosely now, one of them even unzipped. They looked less like enforcers and more like guilty kids caught sneaking into a movie. You stepped forward, calm but resolute, your shoes thudding against the planks. The lake lapped gently below, a stark contrast to the storm brewing in Karen's expression. Karen, you said evenly, your voice carrying over the crowd, whatever you think is happening here, it's not. This is my property, my lake. You have no authority here. She jabbed her clipboard toward you like a sword. Authority is earned through leadership, and I am the voice of this community. You can't just throw wild parties whenever you feel like it. Your wife joined you at your side, folding her arms across her chest. The sash that declared birthday queen glittered in the sun. It's my birthday, she said flatly. Not a rave. Not a wild party. Just my family and friends enjoying the lake that we own. You weren't invited, Karen, so why are you still here? The crowd hooped, clapping in approval. The guards looked increasingly uncomfortable under the weight of so many amused stares. You held up a hand, quieting the guests. Then, with deliberate calm, you addressed the two men in vests. Let me ask you something. Who hired you? One of them shifted uncomfortably. She did. And what exactly did she tell you? And the taller one scratched the back of his neck. Said there was a trespassing situation. That we'd be escorting some rowdy folks off private property. Do you see any rowdy trespassers here? You asked, sweeping your hand toward the group of families lounging on paddleboards and kids giggling on inflatable flamingos. The guard hesitated. Then he glanced at his partner, who muttered, looks like a. Laughter erupted again, this time louder, bolder. People clapped, some whistled, and a chant of birthday, birthday, started up in the back. Karen's face flushed crimson. She whirled on the guards. Don't just stand there. But the shorter one raised his hands. Look, Mom, we didn't sign up for this. You didn't tell us we'd be walking into someone's private property. This feels like a setup. The taller one sighed and clipping his plastic badge and letting it drop with a clatter onto the dock. Yeah, sorry, we're done here. He peeled off his vest and handed it to Karen, who stood frozen in shock. The other followed suit, muttering, not worth the $50. He shoved his vest into her arms and stepped back, clearly eager to escape the spotlight. Phone zoomed in, capturing every glorious second. The guests roared with laughter, clapping and chanting louder now, their voices bouncing across the water. Karen's composure cracked. She stomped her heel, making the dock shudder. This isn't over, she screeched. You think you can humiliate me like this? I'll have you fined. I'll call the sheriff. But the noise drowned her out. The music surged, someone deliberately turning the volume up to drown her tantrum. The partygoers cheered, and a group of kids began blowing party horns in her direction. You're the wife crowd slowly quieted again. She stepped forward, her tiara slightly askew but her expression sharp as a blade. Karen, she said, voice calm but carrying the weight of finality, we're not afraid of you. We never were. You've spent years bossing people around, acting like the world owes you obedience. But here's the truth, you can't control everything. Not this lake, not this day, and certainly not us. So take your clipboard, take your attitude, and leave. The silence after her words was electric, charged with anticipation. Then the crowd erupted again, cheering and stomping, the dock bouncing under the weight of their celebration. People shouted your wife's name, chanting it with the rhythm of a rally. Karen's mouth opened and closed, but no words came. For once, she was speechless. Her sunglasses slipped down her nose, and she shoved them back into place with a trembling hand. You'll regret this, she hissed finally, her voice nearly drowned by the roar of the party. All of you. But nobody listened. Nobody cared. She turned sharply, storming back up the slope, her heels sinking awkwardly into the soft earth. The two former guards trailed after her, heads clearly regretting ever answering her call. As she vanished from view, a ripple of relief passed through the crowd. The tension that had crept in with her arrival dissolved, replaced by a buoyant joy. The music blasted again louder than before, and people danced on the dock, clapped along, and raised their glasses in a collective toast. Your wife slipped her arm around your waist, leaning her head on your shoulder. Well, she said with a grin. That was the best birthday entertainment I could have asked for. You chuckled, pressing a kiss to her temple. I didn't plan it, but hey. Free comedy show. Across the dock, guests were already sharing clips from their phones. Laughter ringing out as they replayed Karen's meltdown in slow motion. Someone had even set it to music, the sound of a trombone wah perfectly timed to her stump of frustration. The kids went back to splashing in the water. Adults lounged in chairs with drinks in hand, and the flamingo float bobbed lazily against the dock. It was as though the storm had passed, leaving the party brighter and more alive than ever. The sun dipped lower, painting the lake in hues of gold and rose. As candles were lit on the cake and everyone gathered around to sing, your wife's smile was wider than it had been all day. She closed her eyes, made a wish, and blew them out in a single breath, the smoke curling into the evening air like a promise of better things to come. And when the cheer went up, echoing across the water, there was no trace of Karen's shrill voice, no shadow of her clipboard. Just joy, laughter, and the kind of memory that would be retold for years to come. About the day she tried to call in fake security to kick you off your own lake, and failed spectacularly.